This little episode is going to be about how the media is just a bunch of lying fake news pieces of crap. Essentially, the media has lost their minds after this whole Charlottesville incident. The problem, however, is that the media has yet to spark a single bit of truth. Not an ounce of truth has come out of the media since that whole incident happened. They've done nothing but lie. They've done nothing but mislead. They've done nothing but put out fake news that people are eating up. People believe this crap. This is no different than what Russia and North Korea and the rest of these totalitarian, these fascist, these communist, these dictatorships have put out in the past. It's almost like state-run media, except for these people have a choice. These people choose to put out this misinformation. These people choose to lie to the American people. These people choose to try to paint people that they don't agree with, philosophically, politically, what have you, as the enemy, as the bad guys, all while ignoring what's really going on, who the real enemy is, the people who actually were causing the violence. Donald Trump today had a press conference where the media showed everything I just said to be 100% true. They asked him these stupid questions. They asked him these loaded questions, and he fielded them perfectly with facts, with reality, and they lost their minds. The media and the left can't handle the truth because it goes against their feelings. But the truth of the matter is, the left is the enemy. The liberals are the enemy of the United States of America. Watch what happened today with Donald Trump and his press conference. I've already posted the video, but I'm going to give you some clips right now, and we're going to go over it, and we're going to talk about how the liberals in the media have literally lost their minds. Now, the very first question is, why did it take you so long to respond? Now, anybody with half a brain, anybody who's paid attention for the last 72 hours already knows that it didn't take him that long to respond. He responded that day. Just watch.
Why did you wait so long last week?
I didn't wait long. I didn't wait long. I didn't wait long. I wanted to make sure, unlike most politicians, that what I said was correct, not make a quick statement. The statement I made on Saturday, the first statement, was a fine statement. But you don't make statements that direct unless you know the fact. It takes a little while to get the facts. You still don't know the facts. And it's a very, very important process to me. And it's a very important statement. So I don't want to go quickly and just make a statement for the sake of making a political statement. I want to know the facts. If you go back to my, in fact, I brought it.
What did you bring, Mr. President?
As I said on, remember this, Saturday, we condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. And then I went on from there. Now, here's the thing. As to, excuse me. Take it nice and easy. Here's the thing. When I make a statement, I like to be correct. I want the facts. This event just happened. In fact, a lot of the event didn't even happen yet as we were speaking. This event just happened. Before I make a statement, I need the facts. So I don't want to rush into a statement. So making the statement when I made it was excellent. And honestly, if the press were not fake, and if it was honest, the press would have said what I said was very nice. But unlike you and unlike the media, before I make a statement, I like to know the facts.
Right. What is so difficult to understand about that? He did not jump the gun. He did not jump to conclusions. He waited until all the facts came out before he made a full statement. What he should have said, instead of, like other politicians, he should have just came out and said, Obama. Because that's all Obama ever did. Always jumped the gun, always jumped to conclusions, always was really quick to react before any of the facts came out. The police didn't even know all the facts yet, but he thought he did, and he jumped the gun and just throws out these random garbage attacks based off of ignorance. So Trump's a bad guy for wanting to make sure he knew all the facts. Now, this next video goes to show exactly what I've been saying in my last couple videos. Trump apparently found out the facts. Trump found out all the things that I've been saying, and he included it in today's press briefing.
Kane said that the alt-right is to those who perpetrated the attack in Charlottesville.
Well, I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm sure Senator McCain must know what he's talking about. But when you say the alt-right, define alt-right to me. You define it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying,
define it for me. Come on, let's go. Define
Senator
it.
McCain defined them as the same group.
Okay, what about the alt-left that came charging at us? Excuse me. What about the alt-left that came charging at the, as you say, the alt-right? Do they have any semblance of guilt?
This is Senator McCain's statement.
Let me ask you this. What about the fact that they came charging with clubs in their hands, swinging clubs? Do they have any problem? I think they do. So, as far as I'm concerned, that was a horrible, horrible day. Wait a minute. I'm not finished. I'm not finished, fake news. That was a horrible day. I will tell you something. I watched those very closely, much more closely than you people watched it. And you have, you had a group on one side that was bad, and you had a group on the other side that was also very violent. And nobody wants to say that, but I'll say it right now. You had a group on the other side that came charging in without a permit, and they were very, very violent.
Yes! Amazing. That was phenomenal. Donald Trump called them out on their crap. And you're just going to have to watch the rest of these clips to see exactly how they react to it. But I'm going to tell you right now, Triggered doesn't even come close. They lost their minds. And if you've looked at any of the headlines, you can tell they've lost their minds. Not that they really had that much to lose in the first place. Now, in this next clip, Donald Trump is asked if the alt-left is the same as the neo-Nazis. Now, Donald Trump fields this question pretty well. However, the correct answer would have been yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the alt-left is worse than the neo-Nazis. Because tell me when the last time a neo-Nazi burned a city down. Tell me the last time a neo-Nazi went off and started just attacking a whole bunch of people. Tell me when the last time neo-Nazis or the Klan or one of these white nationalists just started going around destroying property, running around in mobs, trying to beat people up just because they disagree with them.
Go ahead.
Do you think that what you call the alt-left is the same as neo-Nazis?
Those people, all of those people, excuse me, I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups, but not all of those people were neo-Nazis, believe me. Not all of those people were white supremacists by any stretch. Those people were also there because they wanted to protest the taking down of a statue, Robert E. Lee. So, excuse me, and you take a look at some of the groups and you see, and you know it if you were honest reporters, which in many cases you're not, but many of those people were there to protest the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. So, this week it's Robert E. Lee. I noticed that Stonewall Jackson's coming down. I wonder, is it George Washington next week? And is it Thomas Jefferson the week after? You know, you really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop? But they were there to protest, excuse me. You take a look the night before, they were there to protest the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. Infrastructure question, go ahead.
Should statues of Robert E. Lee stay up?
I would say that's up to a local town, community, or the federal government, depending on where it is located.
Are you against the Confederacy?
Did you hear that idiot at the very end? Are you against the Confederacy? What kind of question is that? Like, why would you ask the President of the United States that question? What purpose does it serve? Yeah, an extremely stupid question to ask. This next video, however, is amazing all in itself. The media is trying to act shocked, trying to act totally surprised that Donald Trump would even suggest that liberals or people on the left or anybody who's not a conservative could possibly be a bad guy.
Mr. President, are you putting what you're calling the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane?
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. there was a group on this side, you can call them the left, or you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
On both sides, sir? You said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
And if you would have reported it accurately, not only would you have known it, but the rest of the country would have known it as well, and y'all wouldn't be acting so surprised. How can you be surprised? This has been going on across the entire country ever since Trump got elected. As a matter of fact, it's been going on for quite a bit longer than that. But this whole Antifa, try to beat up all the conservatives and all the Republicans thing, that's been going on since Trump got elected. So how can you seriously sit there with a straight face and act like you're surprised? Do they really not understand? Do they really not see it? Do they really think that Antifa and Black Lives Matter and all these other idiot liberal groups are innocent? How? It's impossible. It's unfathomable how they can think that that's even remotely okay. Now, in this next clip, you see Trump giving a little bit of a history lesson to people who apparently sorely need it. Not to mention, he throws in a whole giant batch of common sense. What kind of common sense? How about the slippery slope kind of common sense?
Kill the person. Heather hired
Charlottesville. They showed up in Charlottesville
Excuse me.
to protest.
Excuse me. They didn't put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. No, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, excuse me, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now, we're going to take down his statue. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history. You're changing culture. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. Now, in the other group also, you had some fine people, but you also had troublemakers, and you see them come with the black outfits and with the helmets and with the baseball bats. You had a lot of bad people in the other group too.
Right here's one of the reasons why it's so easy to call the left just a bunch of idiots. Because they don't understand the simple concept of slippery slope. In Portland, Oregon, they're trying to get rid of anything that has to do with the word lynch. There was a family, the last name was Lynch. Schools were named after them. All sorts of things were named after them. But now there's a movement to try to get rid of all of it. Because of a last name Lynch. Because it's too close to lynching. How stupid can you be? Now Trump brings up a very good point. So what's next? Are we going to take down any statue of Thomas Jefferson or Washington or U.S. Grant, the Union soldier, the Union general who owned slaves until it was no longer legal? Where does it stop? And when are they going to stop being such hypocrites about it? Are they going to take down statues of FDR who imprisoned all the Japanese? Are they going to tear down statues of Lenin, Stalin, any of these other people who committed these horrible atrocities? Are they going to tear down the pyramids? Where does it stop? Where does the eradication of history stop? They don't understand all of the harm that they're doing. They want free speech, but yet they want to stop anybody else from saying anything that they don't like. Do they not understand how that can easily be turned around on them? Conservatives can't talk about freedom anymore. Yeah, well, you can't talk about social issues anymore. That's how it works. You start limiting people's freedoms in the name of political correctness, and you lose those freedoms too eventually. Because it just keeps going. It keeps tumbling out of control. Once you set a precedent It's over. It's over until somebody can sit there and reverse it. Thank God we have a president like Trump. But he's got a hard battle to fight because the media is obviously against him. The media is against anybody who's right. The media is already campaigning for 2018, and you bet they're already campaigning for 2020. I mean, just today, San Francisco puts out this giant announcement saying about how white nationalists are coming to San Francisco and Berkeley, and there's supposed to be these protests and there's supposed to be these rallies, and yet the conservatives again are permitted. They have permits. But the counter-protests don't. Somehow, some way, it's the conservatives who are the bad guys. The conservatives aren't going to be the ones fighting. They're going to be the ones defending themselves. Just like what happened in Charlottesville. Just like what happened in Seattle. Just like what happens in Portland.
Free thought for free people.